All right, so next we're going to be joined by two duos, actually. And they're gonna tell their founder story. We have two Dutch brands joining us, Labfresh and Vedder Vedder. And they're going to be talking to Nick from Juni. So please welcome them on stage. Esther, Anne, Kasper, and Lotte and Nick.
Nice, front row.
Where's Kasper?
Oh, wow.
Did we lose Kasper? Oh, yeah.
Yes, hello.
He was just there.
Yes, we need some diversity on stage.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name's Nick Knuppe, and I'm from Juni. We'll get onto the topic of Juni shortly. I must admit, we'll try and make sure I'm paying all of your attention. I'm a little bit sick, so for those of you that do know me and my uncomfortably high energy levels, you'll get a bit of a tamer Nick today. We have an amazing panel ahead of us. We have 4 incredibly successful e-com entrepreneurs. We have Anne and Esther from Vedder and Vedder, and we have Lotte and Kasper from Labfresh. Could we give a little warm welcome to them? So on today's panel, we have 2 really kind of core themes that we want to unpack. The first one will be the founder's story, and the second part will be building and growing a sustainable community with your customers. So firstly, I think to start the founder's story, and this is interesting because this literally came up 15 seconds ago, we have a co-founder couple, and we've got a co-founder twins, sisters. Now it gets interesting. So I think let's just jump straight into it and maybe start with Labfresh. Maybe less about your romantic journey together and more about how do you just live with
You don't want to hear about the first kiss at the Christmas party? No.
And just how does that, the fusion between being a couple versus a co-founder, what is that relationship like and how do you manage?
I think it's easy and pleasant all the time.
It's a very loaded question. Yeah. Well, it's a work in progress. We're very different, and it's very good. We have different perspectives how we look at things. Kasper lives in the future. I'm more in the present. You need Kasper's a visionary. I'm the integrator. But it also means that we sometimes talk from different places. It's sometimes a challenge.
Yeah, I think on paper, when you do a startup, especially in the early stage. The textbook example is that you need a visionary and an operator. And if you don't have the visionary, then maybe it will never become a big business. And if you only have visionary founders, then it's going to be very messy and chaotic, and you probably go bankrupt.
Personally, that's where I find myself.
That's fine, also. Yeah.
And Vedder and Vedder, the twin sisters. I barely have a relationship with my own sister, and that's just, we don't have a company together. I'm kidding, but please talk to me a little bit about how you manage, who plays which role.
We started 7 years ago, and we are identical twins. So we have the same things we like and we don't like. So at first, both of us did the same, and we were fighting with each other and saying, "You should do that." Oh no! I thought you should do that. So it was very confusing. So we said to each other, "Okay, let's divide all the roles." And Esther is more design, marketing, and PR.
Yeah.
And I'm more organizational, back office.
Finance. You manage the money.
Finance.
No, I wish.
I started with it. So, and that works. And up to now, 7 years ago, we still do the same.
Yeah. And we are very tough for each other.
Yeah.
So more tough than you
Strict.
can. Yeah.
And I feel like there's a common theme around transparency and being able to communicate openly. How do you manage the balance between leaving work at work and coming home and them being a romantic couple, not you?
I literally take my lover my work to bed.
In that.
No, it's hard to make a split, but we do have a rule at home that if someone doesn't want to talk about something, then you say no more, and then we stop.
Yeah, and I think we almost only talk business on the balcony.
Yeah,
right?
with wine.
In the living room or bedroom or whatever. You cannot do that. No, that's private life.
Fair.
Yeah. Work-life balance.
And we love oversharing. Like TMI, I don't know what that means.
All right. And so let's just unpack the founder's story a little bit more. So, Labfresh, absolutely amazed by your story. You just did a recent crowdfunding raise. I think it was around 720, 740?
817 people,
So-
1.3 million that we raised.
Gee, amazing.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely incredible. I was way off.
Yeah.
And,
Can I tell a little bit what we do also? Because I'm not sure if everyone knows. Yeah.
So we're getting there.
Yeah, okay.
So what I
one
wanted to
assumed.
unpack was in each of your own journeys, and this is more on the founder's story, when did you start to realize that, that moment where Labfresh was actually something tangible, that you had that aha moment?
Well, we lived in Berlin together. Kasper's company got acquired, and we were there together, and we were not happy in the German culture. So we had this idea. We put it on a Kickstarter campaign, and we thought if it's going to be successful, we're going to build a business out of it. If it's not, we're going to go travel and then find a job. And here we are.
Yeah, that's part of crowdfunding, that you get instant product or like idea validation. Because we shoot a video with some friends in our apartment, we put it online. And if no one cares about what we made, then okay, it's not a good idea. We should spend our time on something else. And then this red wine falling on a white shirt and repelling it, that just went viral. And we sold to 42 countries, I think, in the first month. And we're like, okay, there's some sort of interest here. We better be serious about it.
And when you think about spotting the opportunity and realizing it, how do you make sure that you don't dilute your founder vision? So, wanting to make a change versus scaling a business and still keeping that change?
Well, for me, it's about the starting point of who you're building your business together with. So in my first business, I was, of course, also a much younger man, but we took in total 3 million euros in venture capital. And we had a board of venture capitalists telling us to go very hard and maybe neglect the product and the customers a bit in that pursuit of growth. So for my second company, we decided we're not going to take any venture capital ever. We want to build the company together with our customers. People who really care about it, who have the patience for us to really obsess about the small, nerdy details in our product.
We did 4 Kickstarter campaigns. That's how we launched all our first product categories. Then when we want to open stores, we did it also to a crowdabout now through like a loan. So they paid for a store in Amsterdam and one in Copenhagen. And then we did our last round where we sold 10% of the business via seeders.
Yeah.
It's a quite unique way of financing your growth with your customers.
And we will unpack that a little bit more when we talk about like involving your community strategically. But I want to shift to Vedder and Vedder. So your story was a little bit different, and I'm not sure if I can recall it correctly, but it was receiving a chain that had a name on it in your family.
Yeah. When we graduated from the university, we got like a necklace from our mother, and it was like it was not engraved. Like it was like not a one-of-a-kind piece. Like you could buy it anywhere. So we thought, oh, it would be very nice if we could do her handwriting in it. But we went to the jewelry shop and it was not possible. And we looked online and we couldn't find it. So we were like graduated and we thought, okay, if we want to start up a business, this is the time. You don't have a job and this was our passion. So we started like the company while we had like -1,000 on our bank account. So we were like really
sounds like an e-commerce startup.
Yeah. So and I did like YouTube tutorials how to build a website, and it was full of bugs.
Oh my God. Amazing.
And Esther did like
a course for
goldsmith.
Yeah.
So you were coding in WordPress and you were the goldsmith.
Yeah, and all together in one office.
Yeah. And I had no idea what I was doing. So that I built a website, it's unbelievable. So and Instagram was like not popular at that time. It was like.
It was the beginning of Instagram.
No one used it.
Yeah, no paid
Would you consider yourselves
collaborations
early adopters?
Yeah, so we thought, okay, it's free. So it's like free marketing. So we thought, okay, let's make an account, and post like 2 pictures every week. So we made one personal account and one business account.
Because you have quite a substantial following. I think you have a following that most amateur influencers dream of. And we'll talk more about how you've involved your following, into like literally letting your community see your real life unfold. In between the time from growing, from working together, in between building your website, what are some of the bigger milestones into? I think you have like 68 employees now.
Yes.
You're on track to do around 8 figures in revenue at the end of the year. So, I mean, that's incredibly impressive. And I think what we want to share with the audience this afternoon is like getting to reach that kind of like critical mass in expanding. So I think maybe could you walk us through in your early growth stages from when you weren't coding or when you weren't designing the jewelry yourselves? Like, how did you manage your growth? Like, what did you do when you were starting to feel that you had so many sales, you actually couldn't manage the sales?
Yeah, in the beginning we just sent jewelry to famous Dutch people, and then they began to wear it and post about it. So from that time we sold, I think, a lot, and we still were with the two of us. So I think after 3 years or something, we thought, okay, I think it's really gold. We have gold in hands now.
Yeah.
So from that time, I think it really took off.
Yeah, and we hired like the first people and like a manager and the
And
goldsmiths.
who were the first people that you hired?
Goldsmiths.
Goldsmiths.
Yeah, because
not someone to look
I
after
wasn't
finance.
good enough.
and I still did the customer service and the website, and
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
yeah, but like it's still like going up and down, you know. Sometimes I still have the feeling I'm in the startup phase, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
I think we always have the
Yeah.
feeling we are just a startup.
yeah.
And talking about being just a startup and looking at Labfresh as an incredible growth, from looking at how kind of there's a scientific component to the materials and your products to scaling your distribution. Like, walk us through that journey.
What's the question exactly?
So when you started to scale your distribution,
Yeah.
what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome when looking at, you're not
we
just
making
bringing
it-
in random shirts, this is a Labfresh shirt, it looks really good.
I think making the product is the most complicated. Like, we make a very complicated product. Like, no product we make is normal. So there's technology to all our products. So it makes them stain and odor repellent. And you have, for example, some of our products are really good at repelling sweat stains. But it's so much trial and error. Like, the first production came out yellow because the stain repellency treatment doesn't like the odor repellency treatment. So getting our supply chain up and running, I think that is still a challenge.
Yeah, like the scalability of that. And I also hugely overestimated how great I was at building supply chains.
Yeah.
Because I used to work for a shipping company, and I built supply chains in Nigeria and India and Oman, and I thought, we're just going to go to Portugal and make a fabric
So much
piece
easier
of
in
cake.
Europe.
Yeah. And then it just keeps on crashing, and it still does. The scalability is extremely hard because all of these companies don't like any kind of disruption or change. They are all owned by families, and it's 65-year-old men that we always have to convince to try a new technology. And it's I think it's a continuous struggle if we want to continue to innovate.
If you want to change behavior, it's hard. And we really want to change the way how we consume fashion. Our products, on average, you can wear them for 3.7 days before you wash them. If you wash them less, they say good for a longer time.
I've been wearing this for 5 days.
Nice.
Can you smell him?
No, but it's good. So that, like, for us, sustainability equals durability. And that's really what we want to make. Just better products, good basics, but better.
And looking at our time here, because we have a kind of second part of this to unpack, which is the community. And I know when we discussed maybe to kind of double down on leveraging your community to test your products, could you walk us through some of the tactics that you use to make sure that you engage with your community and you keep growing it?
Yeah, so we adapted the mindset that you know more from developing software than from clothing. So it blew our mind in the beginning when we spoke to some of the established big fashion houses, and they all have a lab. And then you talk to the Tommy Hilfiger lab in New York, and everything is secret and stealth mode, and they don't share it with anyone. And we, from the beginning, said to our customers, we are going to sell you prototypes, and you are our beta testers. And it's probably not going to be perfect. Don't hate us for it. You get it at a special price. And all you have to do is to give us a lot of feedback, and then you are part of shaping how the next generation is going to look. You help us make the product better and fit your needs better.
Yeah, if I look at my first product now, I can almost cry. We came a long way.
And the retention rates along it has been good because we keep interacting and being very responsive to everyone.
Yeah.
Like, Sometimes when you fill out a survey from a brand and you spend 10 minutes answering all the questions, then you never hear anything back. And that's weird. Like, we want to come back and then say, hey, we listened to you, you gave us inputs, this is what we did with it, this is what we developed based on what you told us.
Yeah. Well, we literally have their names on the wall. Like the people who really like supported us and did they loaned us and borrowed us money. We put their names on the wall in our store.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
the wall of heroes.
The wall of heroes.
And it's one thing engaging with a community. I think a lot of people underestimate the resources behind it. Could you talk us through who manages the community? What kind of strategy, like what kind of resources help you make sure that you're keeping this community growing and engaged?
Well, I think it's very personal also. Like, we share a lot, and all the emails are coming from Lotte and Kasper. And I think the KVK did a research once, like how many people have a dream to be an entrepreneur. And I think it's like 4 out of 5 people ever had the wish, like, I want to start something of my own business. And I think bringing them into the entrepreneurial journey, like literally helping us finance our products on Kickstarter, then borrowing us money so we can build our stores, and now that they can own shares in our company, really taking them to the phases of growing the company.
Yeah. I think by now we are the most crowd-backed, or what can you say, community-backed fashion brand in Europe. And the one thing you cannot do is find your customers annoying because you have a vision, and then you want to carry that out. Also, you cannot really hire a community manager and they're going to take care of it. As a founder, we have to run with it. We have to spend significant time with them, and that's a part of our job description. And then it can be authentic.
Yeah, Kasper has a cool idea for our next shareholder meeting.
Yeah. Like you have to do a general meeting with your shareholders. We have now more than 1,200 investors. So I want to make sure we can get at least 200 people to come into a theater. And then we're going to have confetti guns, and we present the financials of the year. And the product team, they come up and they show the new innovations. They made some underwear. They made a new jacket. And then everyone can vote via an app. And we make the products that our shareholders vote for us to make. And then we have a party.
So cool. and then switching gears, you've had a different approach with, you've involved the public in your life pretty much with, you're on TV or you have shows on YouTube. How has that been from when you look at your audience, like, just keeping them continuously involved in your life? And from a sales perspective, do you really see the return on the compromise of having people involved in your life?
Yeah, I think it's very boring for people to just follow a brand all the time. So people are also interested in the lives of someone. So I think that's, in the beginning, we started an Instagram for our brand and a personal Instagram. And our personal Instagram grew very fast. And the personal Instagram was also a free marketing channel to sell our jewelry. So I think that's the point where we thought, okay, it's also, the personal Instagram is also selling the jewelry. So it's very good to also have a YouTube series. So to integrate the customers in your life. And I think the people like to see from who they are buying the jewelry, like to have a face behind the brand. So we have like a podcast where we like invite other entrepreneurs to tell their story, to like be an inspiration for like new people who want to set up a company. But also we have a YouTube series. We are doing a lot of interviews, like a lot of press things. We have a series on Videoland.
It's like building your brand.
Yeah,
building your brand in public.
Yeah, and I think when you're saying, this is like a new necklace, it's like a moon face necklace.
I would actually really like that.
Yeah, and it sells because people like, they know you, they have the feeling that they know you.
And I think, so listening, I mean, you have two different stories. Like one from a community perspective is involving and building in public, and the other one is actually getting your community to be active investors. And I think there's a lot to take away from either route. I would say, what is the one challenge that you have with having so many of your customers as investors? And for you, what is the one challenge that you have with so many of your customers being so publicly involved? We'll start with you.
It's a
Well, I think one of the challenges was more also in the beginning when we started on Kickstarter, because you sell to so many countries at the same time. And then there's this term about crossing the chasm. You might have heard of it. You better be a big fish in a small pond and a small fish in the big pond. And I think that was really the challenge in the beginning, that you really focus and make that community in the beginning as small as possible to create like a higher awareness.
So focusing more on hyper-localized rather than geographic.
Focus is key, and what you say no to defines you. Yeah, and that's hard sometimes, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? You see opportunities everywhere. Saying no is important.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think when you're now we are kind of famous ourselves. So also if it's going bad in your relationship, in your private life, it's also online. So it's not always good. Like juice channels and stuff. Yeah. So I think that is the negative part of it.
And sometimes you just want to be ugly, lay on the couch,
Be normal.
and sometimes and you have to make a video of your new jewelry, And then you're like, no, I just want to sit in my hoodie and be at work and like talk to no one, But that's
I think your community would want to see that side.
I think so.
I'm mindful of time, and we've discussed a lot, and this has been super insightful. And for anyone in the audience that wants to start an e-com business one day, tomorrow, in 5 years, if you had to give them one piece of advice, each of you, you can have a bit of time to think. What would that one piece of advice be? You can't both share.
We all say one. Okay. Well, I really like quotes, and I think this one captured it really well. The comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. And I think that is that you always have to find that moment where things become uncomfortable, because that's the place where things are growing. So be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Love it. Kasper.
Yeah, so I think we have met with hundreds of people who want to do their own crowdfunding campaigns to start their own products over the years. And I always say, don't quit your day job yet, because if you make a physical product, it just takes a long time before it's a full-time business. There's just a lot of waiting. If it goes really well, you sell out. If it doesn't go so well, you have 2,000 white shirts in your apartment waiting to ship, So, and then you will make the wrong decisions because you're waiting, like you see your savings becoming smaller every month, and then you just commit to a stupid idea because you just want to get started. So don't quit your day job until you have some sort of validation.
Nice, don't dive right in.
Yeah.
I think failure is part of the success. So we made a lot of failures, and I'm proud of it. So I think it made our company big.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Release early and release often. Like sometimes you have to try things and get feedback from your customers, because nothing is perfect at the beginning. And some entrepreneurs are waiting till something is perfect. But I think you have like no time, you have to release.
Perfection is overrated.
Yeah, you release and see what happens,
Awesome.
MVP. Minimal viable product.
Yeah.
Get it out there.
Absolutely. So we have just under 3 minutes left, and I want to make sure the audience have some time for questions. So please, if you have a question, raise your hand, scream, shout.
It was very interesting to hear all your stories, but maybe you can tell something about Juni.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm gonna. So, you looking for help with your cash flow? But no, in all seriousness, to sum up what we're doing at Juni, we have big ambitions to basically build a private bank for e-commerce businesses. We believe e-commerce is largely underserved as a vertical, and we're verticalizing financial services. Some of the main things that we're focusing on is really helping customers with their cash flow. They have different cash flow cycles, much more complex. And what we really find is that on average, mid-market e-com, it ranges between founder-led and mid-market. Those are the kind of two segments we serve. Is that between 30 and 40% on the two biggest cost centers, advertising and inventory, that really ties up a lot of their cash flow. So we try and enable them with inventory financing and media financing, which is something quite new, where you can finance against your invoices with Google and Facebook, and you can get up to 120 days, which frees up a lot of cash flow. Sorry, that was a very quick elevator pitch.
So I was wondering, you had the great tips. Was there any moments during the startup period or anywhere where you thought you wanted to quit the company? Because, well, hard times. And why didn't you?
Yeah. When Corona hit, our main product, I think 90% of our revenue was white and blue business shirts. we had to change that name to Classic Shirts, but people still didn't wear shirts on their couch. So our revenue dropped 90%. We fired almost the whole team. And we had to think about how maybe we can run this from a van in Portugal, and we get some surfboards, and we learn how to surf, and then we just scale the business down. But yeah, then like you still have to find something to do. And I personally don't think it can be a lot more fun and fitting better into my life than like we choose our own people and our own offices. Get to go back to Copenhagen all the time. It's if you design it the right way, then as long as you don't run out of money, then it's only positive.
Yeah. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
That's good advice. How
Questions?
about you with Vedder and Vedder, if that's okay?
I think we want to quit all the time.
Yeah.
Like every day when we started, one of us were saying to each other, I want to quit. I'm done with it. Because it was so hard at the beginning with no money. We had no sales. It was like a very tough period. And one time we thought, oh, it's going good. Let's hire an intern. And like a month later, the sales were gone. So we had to fire the intern. And we were back with two. And I was like throwing like a random reader from the Rabobank to Esther's head because I was so done with it. And like we had like this kind of stories like once a week. Yeah. But now things are going well. Don't worry.
No more firing interns. Thank you.
Funny.
All right. Any final questions? No. So from me, a massive thank you and a round of applause.
Yeah, thanks.